So after almost a month of waiting, I finally got my goodies in the mail. I was able to snag the DJI Digital FPV goggles and 2 air units. For the uninitiated, us FPV pilots who pilot these multi-rotorers, racing drones or whatever you want to call them, typically fly in analog mode, which means the signal is very fast. It's got low latency, but it also doesn't look very good, if I'm being honest. When I first got into FPV, I was really excited about all the footage that I would see guys post on YouTube because it looked so great, and then you come to find out that that's all coming out of a GoPro, which would typically be mounted in the front here. So something like this session that I record off of goes in this guy right here, and then I actually, or other pilots, look out of this little thing right here, which if I can get it to focus, that is an analog camera, which has super low latency, which allows us to pull off the maneuvers that you need to when you're flying a multi-rotor. The difference between that and something like a DJI, regular DJI drone, like a Mavic, let's say, or a Phantom, is you can see through high def on those through your phone, through something like OcuSync or one of their other protocols, but if you try to fly FPV through that, you just crash because the latency is so bad. So enter DJI Digital FPV. So instead of showing an analog signal through something like these Fat Sharks, it's going to send a 720p high definition signal to these proprietary goggles, the newest, most up-to-date, technologically advanced thing that we have, and everybody's just been blown away by it. For all those of you who are already into FPV, you know about this, you've known about it for the last year, and I'm excited to dip my toe in. And since I got 2 air units, I'm going to be putting them into 2 drones. I already cannibalized one of my other 6S rigs, so I'm going to be building a long-range Banggood from Catalyst Machine Works, a 6-inch, and then also I'm going to be building a little guy, an iFlight DC3. I'm actually way more excited about this little thing because I'm going to try to make it sub 250 grams, which is the legal limit for having to register a drone. It's like this kind of magic number. Again, for those who are uninitiated, if you don't know, there are a lot of regulations surrounding these little things. And the other thing about this, besides the fact that you don't have to register, is if I build a little 3-inch, I can fly it around a park relatively easily without worrying about taking somebody's head off. They're much more safe. I would be able to fly this in a lot more places in the city without having to go to one of my usual spots at Boca or somewhere where there's no people. So anyway, I'm gonna get down to the build, and I will see you guys soon.
Again on the track.
Alright guys, so this is a couple days later, follow-up. It's been like a week if I'm being honest. Just a couple updates after that last flight that you just saw. That was actually the last pack that I ran through this thing on tuning day. And basically what I ended up finding out was the props that I was running, if you saw in that shot before, they were the HQ 3x3x3. If I can get this to focus. And I was running them mostly because I like HQ props. I run the FX S3 props on my 5-inch, and I thought these would be really good. But the truth to these ones, at least for this build, for my purposes, these are really unbalanced props, and I had nothing but issues. Even after doing the RPM filtering and turning the filtering as low as I possibly could on Betaflight 4.1, I was still having issues with prop wash and mid-throttle oscillations. What ended up happening was I bought some other props along with this that I hadn't tried yet. These are the Avan 3024. They're 2.4 pitch props. They're actually the ones that come stock on the Baby Hawk from Emax, and these are the ones that I was just flying. Come on, focus. These are the ones that I was just flying in that video, and it was super smooth. It's actually even gotten better because that was a couple days ago, and I've tuned out, just tuned a little bit more on this thing. This has actually become my favorite quad. A couple tips on it. If you guys are building one of these, or if you're getting one, I don't really recommend building one just because it was, like I said, you can get these ready to fly from most retailers, and they come with the air unit. The biggest reason that I didn't get the ready to fly one was because the air unit actually, I got it on a Father's Day deal where I got 2 air units, and the goggles, I think it was like $640 or something, which was cheaper than I've ever seen it offered before. So I didn't want to buy the ready to fly one because it already had the air unit inside of it. But this really worked out, and like I said, this has become one of my favorite quads. One little tip I can say is if you're going to run like an 850 pack like this one, the Tattoo, is that you mid-mount or try to get it as close to this middle line as possible, because the air unit in the back is actually pretty heavy, so it becomes very offset if you run the battery toward the back, closer back here. And so if you kind of keep it up toward the center line, it just helps a lot with the balance of the quad, and when you're trying to do tricks, it doesn't feel like it's kind of fighting in the air. This thing is really cool. It's mostly a cruiser with this dead cat style rather than like a all-out freestyle build, but honestly, after tuning, I mean, it'll do power loops, and it'll throw a lot of like freestyle tricks, and it kind of it still feels like a 3-inch. Doesn't quite have that 5-inch feel if you want that real finesse kind of throwing yourself over trees and having the weight carry you over and things like that. But other than that, I mean, I'm really happy with it. As a tie up to the end of this video, I'm just going to show you I did a second build because, like I said, I got 2 air units. So I finished up this guy, which is the Catalyst Machine Works Bang God, and I haven't even really gotten to maiden this thing yet. I did take it up in the backyard just to make sure that the hover test and everything, to make sure that it was fine and it was gonna fly. This is mostly a transplant build from my other 6-inch. This thing is amazing. I really recommend this company. Their frames are just top notch. And yeah, I installed Crossfire on this too, so not build video, but a maiden on this one coming up. I know this wasn't really a build video for the DC3, but there's lots of resources online if you guys want to learn how to build one of these things. Go to Joshua Bardwell's page, and I can tell you that all the specs that you see for the ready to fly version for the components that were used in this one, I used all the same stuff. I just put a Crossfire in it, and I added a Team Black Sheep GPS, the M8 GLONASS, like I was saying before. Other than that, it's pretty much, I added some Uma grip tape, and yeah, that was the only thing I did differently. But you just have to flash all the ESCs and flash the right version of Betaflight, and then do all the tuning yourself, obviously, as opposed to getting it from the factory. You just get a tune with it. So again, one of my favorite quads I've ever flown. This thing is smooth like butter. It's amazing for cruising around a park. You don't have to worry too much about nailing somebody because it's, again, it's a 3-inch. So yeah, that's been it, and it's been fun, and I can really recommend that digital system. It's unreal how much better it looks than analog, and I hate to poop all over analog again, but it just feels like I tried to fly, you know, my tiny whoop again a day ago, and when the static starts coming in, it really feels like you're not able to see, like you're looking out of a fishbowl and you're flying blind. Digital is the way that FPV should have looked from the beginning. It is so insane how much more confident I am pushing stuff, trying to hit gaps, and just knowing where I'm flying and not having that visual disadvantage of not being able to make out ghost branches and stuff like that. Like, digital is where the future is going, I feel like, in this hobby. And also micros, I feel like, is the future of this hobby. Unfortunately, there's more and more regulations every day, so being in that sub 250 gram category where you can literally, you know, kind of fly under the radar is going to be good, and I think that's where we're headed if regulation continues on the path that it is now. Anyway, if you stuck around to the end of the video, I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, later.